The message arrived on every radio telescope simultaneously at 30:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Dr. Rebecca Martinez was the first to translate it from the mathematical sequence into readable text. Made her blood run cold. Or ibito ospapi I7 hemans dio natbaro chi mesti dio nanaro dias uriscon dio pantion estio biadior solo wasti huiara listananage. TYRLS lustamangis diasuorolyrij SLNTORD. Coordinates follow for safe contact if you survive long enough. Rebecca stared at the message for a full minute, her hands shaking. First contact. Humanity had dreamed of it for centuries. And the first thing aliens told them was to shut up and hide. Within hours, every government on Earth knew. Emergency sessions. Closed-door meetings. Panic barely contained. Is this a hoax? The UN Secretary-General demanded. We've verified the signal's origin, Rebecca explained. It came from outside our solar system. The mathematics are too complex to be human-made. This is real. Someone out there is warning us about something. Who are they? Who's listening? The message doesn't say. But whoever sent this warning used language that suggests extreme caution. Words like die and listening and only warning. This isn't a friendly hello. This is a survival instruction. What about the coordinates? Safe contact, it said. 3 light years away. A star system we've never prioritized for study. If we want answers, we'd need to send a ship. A quiet ship. One that doesn't broadcast. The decision was made to send a small crew in humanity's newest stealth vessel. No transmissions. No active scans. Just slip through space to those coordinates and find out what the hell was going on. Rebecca volunteered immediately. 2 weeks later, the ship Silence departed Earth with a crew of 12. Scientists, linguists, soldiers. All sworn to absolute radio silence until they reached the coordinates. It's eerie, Captain Torres said as they traveled through the dark. No transmissions. No communication with Earth. Just us in the void. That's what they warned us about. Rebecca reminded him. Someone or something is listening for broadcasts. We don't know who. We don't know why, but we follow the warning until we understand the threat. The coordinates led them to a small planet orbiting a red dwarf. As they approached, they detected structures. Not natural, artificial, and a signal broadcasting on the same frequency as the warning. Should we respond? The communications officer asked. Not yet. Let's see what they're saying. The new message was longer, more detailed, and absolutely terrifying. You received our warning. Good, you stayed silent. Good, you came here. Risky but necessary. I am Calzin of the Vex species. We were once like young. Eager, broadcasting our presence to the stars. We shouted into the void, proud and hopeful. And HFY heard us. 40 years ago, they came. The harvesters, we didn't know what they were. They didn't communicate. Didn't negotiate. They just arrived and began processing our planet, converting our people into materials, into fuel, into resources. 7 billion Vex, reduced to components in their ships. I escaped with 3,000 others. We've been hiding ever since, silent, invisible, praying they don't find us. Rebecca felt sick. Processing people. You mean? I mean genocide. Industrial scale. They don't see us as intelligent. They see us as organic matter to be harvested. And they find species by their broadcasts, by their noise. Every radio wave, every transmission, every shout into the void is a beacon saying, "Here we are, come harvest us." The message continued. You are young species. Still broadcasting. Still visible. If they haven't found you yet, it's only because you're small. Quiet by galactic standards. But you're growing louder. Your transmissions reach farther every year. And eventually they will hear you. And when they do, they will come. And your species will end. Not as war. Not as conquest. As industrial processing. Captain Torres looked at Rebecca. We need to warn Earth. Immediately. No transmissions, Rebecca said, her voice hollow. That's exactly what would attract them. If they're listening, if they're out there somewhere, one transmission could doom us all. Then what do? We'll meet with Kailzen. Face to face. Learn everything. Then we go home the slow way and tell Earth in person. No broadcasts. No signals. We stay silent. The meeting happened on the planet's surface. Kailzen was humanoid but clearly alien. Tall, thin, with large eyes that had seen too much horror. Around him were the remnants of his species, 3,000 survivors of a race of billions. Thank you for heeding our warning, Kailzen said. Many species don't. They think we're lying, or they're too proud to hide. They broadcast anyway. Within months, the harvesters find them. We've watched it happen to 12 species in 40 years. Why don't the harvesters communicate? Rebecca asked. Don't they know we're intelligent? They know. They don't care. To them, we are cattle. Would you negotiate with cattle before harvesting them? They are billions of years old. Post-biological. They don't think like us anymore. They think like machines. Efficient, ruthless. All organic life is just resources waiting to be processed. Then how do we fight them? Captain Torres demanded. We can't just hide forever. You don't fight them. You can't, we tried. Our entire military, our greatest weapons. Nothing worked. They absorbed the attacks, adapted. Processed our soldiers along with everyone else. No, Captain, you don't fight the harvesters, you hide from them. Forever. Rebecca felt despair crushing her. So humanity's choice is silence or extinction? That's it? That is reality. We are prey. They are predators. The only winning move is to not be found. But we've been broadcasting for over a century. The communications officer said, radio, television. If they're listening, wouldn't they have heard us already? Kaelson's expression turned grave. Perhaps they have. Perhaps they're already coming. Perhaps your warning came too late. Or perhaps you're far enough away, insignificant enough, that you haven't attracted attention yet. But every year, every broadcast, you increase the risk. How long did you broadcast before they found you? 80 years. But we were louder than you. More advanced, more visible. You might have more time, or less. There's no way to know. The silence returned to Earth 6 months later. No transmissions, no signals. Just a ship full of terrified humans carrying the worst news in history. Humanity was not alone in the universe. But its neighbors were either hiding in terror or extinct. And the apex predators of the galaxy were listening for any species foolish enough to announce their existence. The emergency broadcast went out across Earth through hardline communications only. No radio, no satellites. Physical messengers delivering the truth. Effective immediately, all transmissions beyond Earth's orbit are suspended. All radio telescopes. All broadcasts. Everything goes dark. This is not a drill. This is species survival. But the message didn't explain why. People protested. We have a right to know. Rebecca gave a press conference. No cameras. Just people in a room hearing the truth. There are things in the dark between stars. Things that harvest intelligent species like we harvest wheat. They find you by listening for your broadcasts. For your noise. Every signal we send is a beacon telling them where to find us. We received a warning from survivors of the last species they harvested. 7 billion people. Processed into raw materials. Only 3,000 escaped. The room was silent. The Vex warned us. Stay silent or die. So we're going silent. Completely. No more radio into space. No more transmissions. We hide. Or we get harvested like cattle. For how long? Someone asked. Forever? Rebecca said. Unless we find a way to fight something we can't even comprehend. Unless we discover some defense against predators billions of years more advanced than us. Until then, we hide. We go dark. We pray they haven't heard us already. The great silence began the next day. Earth went dark. All transmissions ceased. Satellites were turned inward. Radio telescopes became receive only. Humanity, which had spent a century shouting into the void, hoping for a response, now cowered in silence, praying no one had heard. It's not fair, Rebecca told Captain Torres months later. We finally know we're not alone. But the truth is worse than being alone. We're prey in a universe of predators. Maybe we find others. Torres suggested. Other species hiding. Build an alliance. Find strength in numbers. Or maybe we stay hidden and quiet and small. Maybe that's how we survive. Not as a galactic civilization. Not as a species reaching for the stars. But as mice hiding from the cat. Barely breathing. Hoping to be overlooked. Is that living? Or is that just slow death? Rebecca had no answer. Humanity had received its first contact. And learned that the universe was a dark forest where every sound could be your last. Where silence was survival and discovery meant death. The stars humanity had dreamed of reaching were full of graveyards. Species that had shouted into the void and been answered by harvesters instead of friends. And somewhere out there, the harvesters listened. Patient, eternal, waiting for the next species to make noise. To announce themselves. To become visible. Earth had gone silent just in time. Or perhaps too late. There was no way to know if the harvesters had already heard humanity's century of broadcasts. If they were already on their way. If the silence was salvation or just delaying the inevitable. What do we do now? The UN Secretary General asked Rebecca. We'll wait. We hide. We develop in silence. And we hope that when the harvesters come, if they come, we're ready. Or we hope they never hurt us at all. That's all we can do. That's not much hope. It's more than the Vex had. They had no warning, we do. Maybe that's enough. But late at night, Rebecca would look at the stars and wonder. How many civilizations were out there hiding in silence? How many had been harvested already? How many graveyards orbited dead worlds where species had made the mistake of announcing their presence? And most terrifying were the harvesters already on their way. Had humanity's broadcasts from the last century already sealed their fate? Was the silence just false hope? Or was it salvation? There was no way to know. All humanity could do was stay quiet, stay hidden, and pray that first contact didn't mean last contact. Because in the dark forest of the universe, making noise didn't bring friends. It brought predators. And humanity had just learned to be very, very quiet.